I want to thank His Excellency President Ruto for organizing this conference and the AFC for organizing it under the patronage of President Ruto. We have got a minister in Uganda, is called Otafuire. The Bantu ways of naming people, you gave a name which is actually a sentence. So Otafuire means that if you don't die, you will see good things in the end. Therefore, by not dying and having been involved in public affairs for the last 65 years, since 1960, I'm now going to beginning to see some waking up. When the manager from AFC was speaking, I said, this man is speaking my language now. And he's a bureaucrat. But he's speaking a language of revolution. This has been our problem. The discrepancy between revolution and betrayal, really, because Africa has been betrayed in the last 70 years. We should not look at these issues in isolated ways. This was the problem in the 1960s and even 70s. They would pick one item, rural development. Then they talk about that, talk about that, talk about that. Then after some time they say, no, 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 women empowerment. Then women empowerment, then education. Then, just like that, is ideological orientation. Because we are talking of interregional infrastructure. But how will you have interregional infrastructure if there are wars going on? And these wars are based on ideological bankruptcy. In my view, I welcome these very good technical, professional ideas about infrastructure. But I think if we only focus on infrastructure alone, we may not go far. Because there are wars. There are wars in Congo, there are wars in South Sudan, there are wars in all these different places, Somalia. So how will you have infrastructure if people are fighting for wrong reasons? Because of number one, because of ideological fragmentation, then you end up with weak states. No army. Why is there insecurity in Africa? Some of these countries have no armies. Why don't they have an army? Because they cannot build one. Why? Because part of or ideology. Then you come to the underdevelopment of the human resource, education. There, many Africans have gone to school now. Many of them are, we have got more educated people than before. But they need these other factors. But in some cases, it is also, what we are talking about now, the infrastructure, is number 4 here in this booklet. It is very true that if you don't have infrastructure, how will you have industrialization? How will you have modernization? Now, on infrastructure, we are moving very well now. From the comments of His Excellency President Ruto, from the the comments of the AFC, we are all moving in the right direction. The only clarification I want to make is that there are core cost pushers. If you want your economy to succeed, you must identify the core cost pushers, which push costs in production. One of them is transport. Transport, especially the railway and the water transport. So if you build the railway, you must build it with either government money, who are not looking for high profits and quickly, or with patient capital, patient private capital. Because if you have got very high cost of transport of the rail, how will you compete? How will you compete? How will the companies make money? The other cost pusher is electricity. In Uganda, my people behind my back, they made a mistake and they went with a group called what? I don't know what they called them. And they built a dam, one of the dams on the Nile, using private money. When it came to the price of the electricity, production was 16 cents per kilowatt hour. How can you make money? How can that electricity help the economy? Well, it almost caused a civil war because they didn't tell me, they went behind my back. But the dams were built with government money. We are able to produce electricity at 4.8 cents, American cents per kilowatt hour. Then the old dams, the ones we have already paid for, the cost is 1.2 cents, American cents. So there, we must be very careful. It must either be government money or patient capital, not people who are looking for quick money. With these few words, it is now my pleasure to participate in the meeting.